saying help is coming. What does he plan to do? What appears clear is that given the mood of the US president, he is unlikely to back down until regime change actually takes place in Iran. Trump sees this as a window of opportunity to do what he has wanted to do for years since his first tenure as the American president. I've been speaking to analysts for the last 48 hours to throw together what I'm now going to show you is a 9-step escalation ladder for how things could in one scenario actually play out. And if the last few days are any indication, viewer, nothing is too far-fetched. So let's begin with how this escalation may actually take place. Step number 1, the execution of Irfan Soltani. He is the young Iranian rebel who, after hundreds of protester deaths in that country, the Iranian regime plans to hang a prominent protester, the young Irfan Soltani. Trump escalates, this is of course an imagined scenario, but by saying that a red line has been crossed, and he urges protesters to arm themselves and seize local institutions immediately. Now this, mind you, is a simulation of how things could actually play out. Step number 2, what happens next? Covert aid is then sent to Iran protesters. This, some say, is already actually happening. The US deploys drones for covert airdrops to protester groups, enabling protester groups early seizure of police stations and media outlets. Then this escalates to step number 3, which is cyber attacks on Iran infrastructure. US and Israel launched cyber attacks to disable networks, power grids in key cities of Iran and command centers, creating chaos, allowing protesters to seize government buildings without immediate regime response. Then we go on to step number 4, where there are proxy strikes that take place via US allies. The US is not involved directly yet. In this, basically you have the US authorizing Israeli and Saudi airstrikes on Iran's supply lines, clearing paths for protesters to advance into the deeper areas of Iran, the sensitive sites. Then comes step number 5, where direct arming and training support begins, courtesy the United States. When this happens, the US escalates aid with heavier weapon drops like anti-tank missiles and mines and embedded special forces. That's the most important thing, facilitating coordinated seizures of provincial capitals and institutions in the most important parts of Iran. Then we move to step number 6, targeted drone strikes on suppression forces. In this, the US conducts drone strikes on Iranian units involved in protest suppression, protecting seized sites. This is very easy for the United States to do because they've got bases to operate drones from virtually all around Iran. So it's actually pretty simple for them. Then comes step number 7, which is broader airstrikes. This is where the real might of the US military could hypothetically come into play. Airstrikes and blockade enforcement around Iran. The US bombs Iranian bases and enforces a naval blockade around the Persian Gulf, while airlifting advanced gear directly to protester groups to seize central institutions of Iran. Then comes step number 8, which is very crucial. This is the penultimate step, top-level assassination operations. The US ramps up with precision strikes, eliminating the supreme leader, the Khamenei, the IRGC generals through allied special operations or direct missile hits or decapitation operations, as they are called. And finally, viewer, step number 9 is regime change in Iran. This is the end game. This is the outcome that President Trump wants. Whether it takes this path or not is anybody's guess, but this could be one hypothetical extreme escalation scenario as to the way it works out. The US sustains massive airstrikes, enabling protesters and groups to carry out regime fracture and transition to a new government. 9 steps to a new Iran.
Keep protesting, take over your institutions if possible, and save the name of the killers and the abusers that are abusing you. You're being very badly abused. And I've canceled all meetings with the Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. And all I say to them is help is on its way. You saw that I put tariffs on anybody doing business with Iran. And I say, make Iran great again. You know, it was a great country until these monsters came in and took it over.
ما برای هر عملی آمادگی داریم. اگه میخوان که برخورد نظامی رو که یک بار امتحان کردن و نتیجه نگرفتند یک بار دیگه امتحان بکنن، ما آماده ایم. حتی از جنگ قبلی آماده تریم، هم به لحاظ کیفیت هم به لحاظ کمیت. اگر میخوان که گزینه‌های دیگر رو امتحان بکنن، برای اونها هم آمادگی داریم. هر گزینه‌ای که اونها امتحان بکنن ما آمادگی داریم.
Iran on edge and on US notice. Tehran's anti-regime protests continue to get bloodier as thousands have been reported dead in the brutal crackdown by the Khamenei regime. Information has been hard to come by as the internet remains blocked. Human rights organizations have estimated widespread carnage of protesting Iranians. The defiance this time is bold and clear. The woman lighting cigarettes with Khamenei's posters, a strong statement against the regime. Protesters on the streets with bloodied faces, chanting anti-Khamenei slogans and demanding change and freedom. The extent of widespread unrest in Tehran and beyond. As Tehran prepares to execute the first protester, 26-year-old Irfan Sultani, who was arrested last week and given a death sentence within 2 days, leading to worldwide outrage and condemnation. The regime hit back, organizing counter pro-Khamenei rallies to show that the protests have been sponsored. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian himself took part in such pro-regime protests. US President Trump assuring help to the protesters. As the carnage grows in Iran, geopolitical tensions simmer as well. Khamenei's future remains uncertain, and the question remains, is a US attack imminent?
I'm going to start by getting a perspective directly from Iran. Tamjeed Haider is former public relations officer with the Iranian embassy here in India. Tamjeed, welcome. Your opening comments on what you think Trump plans to do. There is a lot of uncertainty in terms of how this is going to play out, but it seems like regime change is very much on Trump's mind. He's also signaled to protesting groups in Iran that help is on its way. He has drawn a red line around the imminent hanging of Irfan Sultani. How is this going to play out in your view, Tamjeed? Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for giving me time. Let's correct the premise immediately. The only time bomb ticking is the one attached to American hegemony in West Asia. Actually, President Trump is not threatening Iran because he's strong. He's threatening Iran because the US-Israeli aggression in June 25 failed to break Tehran's resolve. And President Trump's tweets are not policy, actually. They are the desperate noise of an empire in decline. He speaks of saving the Iranian people while starving them with 25% tariffs and sanctions of decades long. You cannot claim to be a savior while holding a knife of sanctions to a nation's throat. Actually, there are no war clouds over Iran that weren't manufactured in Washington, and it's been going on since decades right now. And you have seen in June 2025. And the 9 steps which I was looking that you proposed here, and they were most of those steps were carried out in June 2025. And you saw the result. In 12 days, they had to reach to a ceasefire without any good result. So this is not a new thing. And the execution of Irfan Sultani that you are speaking with, there is a context to it. Let me just explain the context to it. The court of law, with evidences, has given the order for the execution because the concerned person was not a protester. See, there is a red line between a protester and a rioter. Iranian government,
No,
they have
but Tamjeed, no, Tamjeed, that distinction is an important one. I'm glad you've made it. But that distinction doesn't matter to Trump because he has defined this as a red line, and he's not going to be looking for that nuance that you are defining right now between a rioter and a protester. But let me get a view in from the United States as well. Michael Patrick Mulroy is former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense of the United States. Michael, welcome. Your opening comments on how you see this playing out. The general understanding right now is that the outcome, no matter which way this plays, for Trump at least, is going to have to be regime change in Iran. How does this go? What path does this take in your view, Michael?
So good to be with you all and your audience. I think it's clear that the U.S. policy now is regime change. The statements made by the president recently, I think, clearly indicate that. And you're right. I think he made a red line. When you say, if you essentially hang, is what he said, but execute protesters, help is on the way. So, and they just had the meeting yesterday at the White House with all of the National Security Council talking about military options. In addition to that, we're seeing U.S. troops being evacuated out of air bases overseas like Al Udeid in Qatar. So this is all the indicators that the president last night likely made a decision on military action. We'll see what kind of military action based on the flow of aircraft, I think, from the United States and other bases into the Middle East, whether it is a short-term, like symbolic strike to show consolidation or support for the rioters, or not the rioters, the protesters, or it's a long sustained effort to decapitate the regime, which it could be, and depreciate everything underneath it, because they are concerned, of course, even if they take out the Ayatollah, for example, if the IRGC takes over, that's not in a better place for the United States. So that would require a very long sustained military campaign to degrade their capabilities. I know it's a long answer, but this is all the things that are happening right now. And it's really leading up to a pretty significant event by the United States going on.
I do agree with you. It seems that kinetic action of some kind is imminent. It's just a question of, what in this entire spectrum of possibilities will it actually be? Tanjeet, it's come to a point, and Trump is has a kind of momentum right now after Venezuela. You've seen how he's been talking about Greenland. That doesn't seem to be something he's backing down from as well. And Iran is not new on his plate. This is something he's been talking about aggressively for a long time, including during his first tenure. And like Michael also said, there are a variety of different options for him. It doesn't have to be a full-scale kind of conflict. There are many different military options in front of Trump. And the conventional wisdom right now suggests that something is going to be chosen. There is going to be action from Trump's side. Tamjeet?
Yes. The analysts I spoke with inside Iran and with my sources in Iran, they are also of the same opinion that right now there is war coming to the West Asia again. But like the other guest in your program suggests, that it might be the nature of the war and the conflict might be different from what Trump has been tweeting for the regime change. Because this regime change, the term regime change, has been coined by the US and Israeli regimes and administrations since long right now. And even the June 2025 attack was on the same premise. But you saw the result. And as you mentioned, Venezuela clearly, you saw the backlash and you saw the response from the world leaders. The Trump administration.
But that doesn't bother Trump, Tamjeet. The world leader reactions is something that is lowest in the list of things that bother President Trump. He's made that extremely clear. He has scoffed at European leaders saying that any action on Greenland will mean the end of NATO. What does he care about what world leaders think? But let me just show you a map. I understand the point you're making. Iran is not Venezuela, though many would argue that the geopolitics of it are very similar if you compare the two hemispheres. But I just want to support the point that I was making about the military options in front of the United States. Just take a look at this map and look at how Iran is practically surrounded by United States military depots and bases. There's the Incirlik Air Base in Turkey. There is where there are 2,500 US personnel in Syria. The United States has about 2,000 personnel. Similar strength in Iraq as well, which shares that large border with Iran. There is, of course, the famous Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar with a strength of 13,000. That's the headquarters of the United States presence in the region in Qatar. About 5,000 personnel of all kinds, including fighter pilots, etc., in the United Arab Emirates at the Al Dhafra Air Base near Abu Dhabi. They've got naval support activity in Bahrain with about 7,000 personnel there, huge American naval base. Kuwait's strength about 13,000 who've been there since the 90s. Saudi Arabia about 3,000 and Oman about 600. So look at this map. It's like a crowded list of options that the United States have, whether it is a kind of low-scale, short, sharp conflict or a sustained conflict of the kind that Michael Mulroy was just describing. So, Michael, I actually want to come to you to get, to get clarity on how you see, what is your best guess of what this conflict could look like? Because there is a window of opportunity, I'm guessing, that Trump and his advisors will sense at this time. Protests cannot go on forever. The regime in Iran will be on the back foot. There is a mood on the ground as well. What kind of action do you suppose Trump would choose? I know that's a difficult question, but how do you see it?
So it is a good question. I think everybody's asking it right now. Obviously, there's been likely covert operations going on. Those are going to increase, especially if overt military action is about to happen. There's also going to be a concerted effort to try to unblock the internet from the people of Iran so that the world can see the atrocities that are taking place right now, and that fellow Iranians can see that every province in Iran is actually up in arms and protesting this regime. It'll give them more courage, for example. Specific to the overt military strikes, it's usually done in threes. So they usually give courses of actions that are, you got one that's fairly light, one that's medium, one that's heavy. So the light one will be mostly symbolic strikes against the IRGC, not intended necessarily to cause a lot of death and destruction, but basically a warning shot. The second one would probably be a decapitation strike. So going after the supreme leader and his most senior leadership. That, of course, could uncork the genie, so to speak, which could really amount to a problem if they don't do what I think would be the heavy option, which is not only decapitation strikes, but going down to try to systemically dismantle the security apparatus. Very difficult to do from the air, but if any country can do it, obviously I'm biased, but the United States would be the most effective, and probably joined by Israel, quite frankly. And they'll try to make it so that the IRGC really doesn't have the capacity just to come and step in. The other, I guess, hybrid of this would be do a symbolic strike, wait for Iran to retaliate, which they already said they would, and then use that as a excuse to go up the escalatory ladder. So if they strike at Al Udeid like they did last time, then they would come back with the medium or potentially the heavy. And I think having been in many of these discussions, that's probably part of the what they're looking at, these contingency plans to do what next if there is a retaliation.
One of the reasons, apart from everything that has just been said, why it is highly plausible that there will be some form of action from the United States in Iran in this window of opportunity as Trump sees it, is in this next report I want to show my viewers. Tamjid and Michael, stay with me. The US-Iran standoff has entered dangerous new territory right now, but it's very difficult to forget that just 6-7 months ago, the United States had struck nuclear sites inside Iran using stealth B-2 bombers. It was a rare and extreme kinetic operation where American forces struck key Iranian nuclear sites just in June last year, prompting very sharp warnings from Tehran and escalating global concerns. 6 months later, more military action is imminent. And this time it is for regime change. Here's a reminder of what we saw in June 2025.
In the early hours of June 22, 2025, US military forces launched a precision strike against 3 Iranian nuclear facilities in Fordo, Natanz and Isfahan. The operation, called Operation Midnight Hammer, used a combination of long-range B-2 Spirit stealth bombers and submarine-launched Tomahawk cruise missiles in what Pentagon officials called a deliberate and precise strike.
The U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
It was the largest operational deployment of B-2 bombers in US history, with 7 stealth bombers flying more than 18 hours and refueling in mid-air to reach Iranian airspace undetected. The bombers delivered multiple bunker busters specifically intended to destroy deep-buried enrichment infrastructure. More than 24 cruise missiles supplemented the aerial assault, hitting key nuclear work sites. Hours after the operation concluded, Trump took to social media and television to defend the action. He declared that US forces had completely and totally obliterated Iran's key nuclear sites, and also warned that Tehran must now seek peace instead of escalation.
Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight.
In the days leading up to the strikes, Donald Trump publicly signaled a hard line against Tehran's nuclear ambitions. Trump had repeatedly insisted Iran cannot be allowed to possess nuclear weapons.
It's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war. And they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
Iran's leadership denounced the strikes. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei described the strikes as a big mistake by the US and rejected claims that Tehran's nuclear program was crippled.
به مراکز هسته‌ای ما حمله کردند که البته این در خور پیگیری جزایی در دادگاه‌های بین‌المللی است به طور مستقل.
Khamenei pledged that punishment continues for perceived enemies and vowed a strong response, signaling Iran's intent to resist foreign pressure and intervention. The US-Iran confrontation has now reached a new level of intensity, with regional and global powers closely watching each development. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Michael, coming back to you for a final question, what kinds of conversations, in your view, would the Trump administration be having with other countries in the region, Qatar and Saudi Arabia and Israel and the others at this point of time, beyond the conversations that are happening in the United States within the White House?
So I think there'll be 2 parts. I think the United States has already heard from many of the regional partners of ours that they do not want to see a U.S. military strike on Iran.
Yeah.
If the U.S. is going to go ahead, and I don't think that's going to stop them, then those countries are going to want assurances that the United States is going to defend them. Because as you already pointed out, we have military facilities and capabilities spread throughout the region.
Yes.
And we've already seen that they are more than willing, they being Iran, to strike back at those, especially Al Udeid. So I think they're going to want to start the conversation, and many of them are going to want the exact same security assurances that Qatar got recently, when it's essentially like an Article 5 for NATO. If you're attacked, we'll defend you. That's what the conversation is going to be. If that doesn't happen, or at least the initial agreement to that, there's going to start being a lot of questions on whether these countries are going to want U.S. military presence in their country. I think they do for their own purposes, but they're going to use this as a leverage point to essentially get the same type of agreement as Qatar.
Well, we're going to continue looking very closely at how this entire situation plays out. It is volatile at this time. but we will continue to ask the big questions and try and get clarity for our viewers in India and across the world, and especially in the Middle East region, watching NDTV for this coverage. Thank you very much, Michael and Tamjeed, for joining me on India Matters tonight. In its 46 years of existence, the Islamic Republic of Iran has two supreme leaders. For the first 10 years of its existence, for the first 10 years, the leader and ideologue of the revolution, Ayatollah Khamenei, and on his death in 1989, his ardent disciple, Haji Khamenei. Take a look at this. This helps you understand who's running Iran.
Mentored by Ayatollah Khamenei in revolutionary ideology, Ali Khamenei was the natural successor. And Khamenei largely continued his predecessor's vision in the shaping of both his domestic and foreign policy decisions. Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, is committed to ruling under Islamic law, with power concentrated in the clergy. He remains steadfast in his opposition to Western powers and is intent on exporting this ideology across the region. Born in the city of Mashhad in Iran's Khorasan province, Sayyid Ali Hosseini Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was the fifth child born into an ordinary pious cleric family. The young Ali went to a maktab, or a religious school, in his hometown. When he turned 18, to further his theological studies, he first went to Najaf in Iraq and later to Qom in Iran. It was in Qom where Khamenei studied under Ayatollah Khomeini from 1958 to 1964, developing a relationship with the religious leader that would change the course of Iran. In the years between 1963 and 1979, Khamenei was arrested several times for spreading anti-Shah sentiments while giving lectures and sermons across the country. In 1976, he was exiled from Iran, but continued to lay the groundwork for the revolution abroad. He eventually returned to Iran in 1978. After the revolution, Ali Khamenei held various positions in the newly formed Islamic Republic, including president, before taking power in 1989 with the death of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khomeini. Very little is known about Khamenei's personal life. Khamenei has not granted a single personal interview to any media outlet, foreign or domestic. Nor has he hosted a single press conference since taking office in 1989. A rare 1993 remote interview of his wife confirmed that he is married with 6 children. Ali Khamenei is the longest surviving leader in the Middle East. Despite the political forces that have opposed him throughout his tenure,
حالا غیر از اینکه خود من حقیقتاً لایق این مقام نیستم و این رو بنده میدونم.
Iran's supreme leader has proven to be exceptional at utilizing political power, religious influence, and military control to consolidate power and strengthen his regime.
Meanwhile, a political storm has erupted in Karnataka after Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz landed in Bengaluru yesterday, but he wasn't received by the Chief Minister. He wasn't even received by the Deputy Chief Minister, by another minister entirely. It's not that the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister were committed elsewhere or busy with something far more important. They had rushed to Mysuru to receive Rahul Gandhi, who had arrived in the state. So while the Chancellor from Germany, a national leader, touched down, for what officials described as an important diplomatic and economic engagement in Karnataka, both the CM and his deputy were in Mysuru to receive the boss, the High Command, Rahul Gandhi, who was en route to Ooty in Tamil Nadu. This scheduling overlap has triggered a sharp backlash from the BJP, which alleges that the state leadership prioritized party politics and Darbari culture over Karnataka's global interests. The BJP argues that welcoming one of Europe's most powerful leaders should have been a top priority rather than rushing to garland Rahul Gandhi in Mysuru. While Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar says it was his duty to meet his party leader and that there's nothing more to it, the optics have fueled the debate further, amplifying the charges that high command loyalty outweighs everything else. And there is the angle that neither of these two leaders, who it is well known have been sparring for the Chief Minister's chair and what comes next as part of the Game of Thrones in Karnataka, would rather share a frame with Rahul Gandhi than some European leader, even if it is the very, very prestigious and powerful Friedrich Merz of Germany. So let's debate this. It's a mini political flashpoint in Karnataka, but the BJP says it's very serious because it has sent out an unserious signal to the world at a time when Karnataka continues to bleed investment. Let's listen into what the leaders first said.
ಜರ್ಮನಿಯ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ. ಜರ್ಮನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ಶಕ್ತಿ, ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರಿಂಗ್ ಹಬ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು ಆ ದೇಶ. ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ದೇಶದ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಇವತ್ತು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಇವರು ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿ ಕುರ್ಚಿ ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಒಬ್ರು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿ ಕುರ್ಚಿ ಕಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಇಬ್ರು ಹೋಗಿ ರಾಹುಲ್ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಜೊತೆ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು? ಇದೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಜನ ಗಮನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬರುವಂತ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ತರ ನೀಡ್ತಾರೆ.
He is our leader. Whenever he comes, it is my duty to go and receive him, meet him, exchange thoughts. Apart from that, nothing.
Surabhi Hodigere, spokesperson of the Karnataka BJP, Syed Asad Abbas, political analyst, supports the Congress party. Both with me here. Welcome. Thank you for your time to you both. Surabhi, why are you attacking the Congress party on this? They say you're being petty and irresponsible, for picking on Siddaramaiah and D.K. Shivakumar for not being there to receive the German Chancellor. Explain why you say that they've sent out a bad signal by doing so.
As always, there is conflicting reasoning coming from the Congress. If you say this is just a petty claim that we are making, why is it that you don't have a coherent stand on why the CM or the DCM were not present? Mr. M.B. Patil says that it was not a state function, therefore it was just a private event, therefore we didn't have to be present per se. G. Parameshwara then says that no, we should have been there, but we couldn't for XYZ reasons, and it was it was the onus of the central government to make sure that the plan was shared in advance to us for us to be there. Then a party MLA Ashok Patan says that no, there was already the initial plan to welcome him. The DCM and CM were supposed to be there, but because Rahul Gandhi came, it was more important for them to be present where Rahul Gandhi was. We had to change the program. So come give us clarity first and foremost on the reasoning as to why you had to miss this. What is the official reason? Second, as has been said by our party president, Germany is the top trading partner for Karnataka, Bengaluru amongst the EU countries. If this was so important, if the beyond Bengaluru sloganing that this government has come up with is more important, in action, not on paper, they would have been present where M.B. Patil were present today. If the fact that Andhra Pradesh, the country's newest state, is taking away data centers from Google, is taking away investment from Bengaluru, all of this doesn't shock us then or get us working harder, then this is a very acceptable situation that the Congress had put forth.
Okay.
The DCM versus CM fight, Shiv, I'll end with this. The DCM versus the CM fight has already cost us precious lives through the RCB stampede. The DCM versus CM fight has already cost us women of Karnataka money 2 months because they couldn't figure out who's to blame.
Let me get
all of this is happening because governance cannot be in order, administration is not in control, because this DCM versus CM fight is this saga.
Let's focus on the German Chancellor's arrival and why D.K. Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah were not there. Syed, let's keep the BJP aside for a moment. Yes, there's a political attack happening, but any normal person will also ask, if there was something more, I personally don't think it's a big deal that MB Patil, who is a senior minister, respected leader, was receiving the German Chancellor. I have no problem with that. But when Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar are elsewhere committed, and that commitment is rushing to Mysuru to receive Rahul Gandhi, then something is very, very wrong. This has nothing to do with the BJP.
Firstly, Shiv, I challenge my dear BJP spokesperson friend from Karnataka to kindly present the itinerary of the German Chancellor, Friedrich Merz. There's absolutely no mention of him meeting the Chief Minister or Deputy Chief Minister. Neither was the itinerary.
To receive him.
What was the... Just allow me, my dear friend. Allow me uninterrupted time like the BJP spokesperson. First thing, what was his itinerary? The first time we met is in the BTM layout constituency. Argudi, his visit to the Bosch company, where he had a schedule with all the top directors, senior management of Bosch.
Where was Rahul Gandhi's
he
program?
Heads to the Indian Institute of Science.
Was it in Karnataka, Rahul Gandhi's program?
Surabhi, let him finish. Surabhi, let him finish. I'll come to you. I'll give you time.
Question.
No.
Surabhi. Rahul Gandhi's program in Karnataka.
Surabhi, let him finish. Let him finish. No cross talk.
Surabhi, please don't be rattled. My dear friend, you got your time to speak now. Allow me.
Surabhi will respond.
What was the next schedule? The next schedule was heading to the Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore, where he inaugurated the Center for Nanoscience and Engineering. Absolutely nowhere in his protocol.
Forget about that protocol, Syed. Sorry, I need to stop you for a moment.
Just 30
I'm talking about his arrival. I'm talking about his arrival. Forget. I am even willing to condone the other protocol items that you are listing. Maybe they were or were not listed in those items. I am talking about the arrival, which is directly overlapping with them being in Mysuru for the grand ceremony welcome of Rahul Gandhi.
Shiv, the fact that the Bharatiya Janata Party is now saying Jai Jai Andhra Pradesh, Yo-Yo Andhra Pradesh, respected ma'am, under Siddaramaiah DK government, Karnataka is the second largest contributor of the GST. We are the second largest contributor of the GDP of the nation. The national growth is 6.2%. Agriculture has grown by 4%.
But this is protocol. Come on, Syed. You know what the question is here.
Shiv, 30 seconds uninterrupted, please. Bengaluru continues to be the startup capital of India and the Silicon Valley of the East. Wait. The fact of the matter, ma'am, you need to understand, in your competition with DK, please don't take Karnataka down. Karnataka is the number one startup capital of India. We are the top of India.
Okay. Let Surabhi answer that. You've thrown some... No, but Syed, you've not answered the question on protocol.
Interrupted and she gets a fair time. Give me 10 seconds, my friend. Please, 10 seconds.
Let Surabhi answer you now.
10 seconds, I will conclude. The fact of the matter, let's keep Congress and BJP aside. Karnataka is shining. Karnataka is thriving. Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu and Telangana are brothers. We don't compete with brothers. Bangalore will compete with the Boston.
Okay,
Dubai.
So Syed, you're going off script now. Syed, you're going off script now. Hold on. I am not, I am the happiest person. Everybody will be happiest if Karnataka is shining, and it is shining. This is not a question about Karnataka shining, my friend. This is a question about propriety, protocol and priorities. That is what I'm talking about over here.
Protocol.
We are not going to be able to quantify what kind of damage Siddaramaiah and DK Shivakumar not being there to receive the German Chancellor is going to cause to Karnataka. That is something that will happen in the future. We don't know. I don't think the Europeans frankly care who receives them. That is something that we hang around our necks. No, but it is protocol here in India. It is protocol here in India, my friend, because the signal that has gone out, look at the pictures. I want you to see the pictures on your screen. I want my viewers to see the pictures. You've got MB Patil receiving the German Chancellor. You've got DK Shivakumar and Siddaramaiah practically fighting to be in a frame with Rahul Gandhi. They are practically fighting to be in a frame with him, which means that was their priority. The kursi in Karnataka, fighting to be in a frame with the High Command, was the priority of the Chief Minister of this beautiful, shining state to which all three of us belong, my friend. Surabhi, to you first.
Thousands of crores of...
No, one second. Let Surabhi answer. It's a question of priorities and protocol, my friend. This is not about Karnataka. All of us want Karnataka shining. Surabhi.
There's a reason why we don't have a Congress spokesperson with us here today, because the argument that's being made
Karnataka
by Syed Abbas, who's as close as you can get to a Congress spokesperson,
let her finish now,
is that the German Chancellor wanted to come, does not have an itinerary that involves meeting the Chief Minister or the Deputy Chief Minister or any state program. Therefore, they did not have to go and receive him. Was Rahul Gandhi here to inaugurate the borewell inauguration in Karnataka, in Bengaluru? Was he there for that? He came to
Was there a
Mysore and
Borewell
went straight away to Tamil Nadu
connection?
for Tamil Nadu
What are you
election.
saying?
At least the German Chancellor was here to do good for Bengaluru, Karnataka. But
There
there's
is
no
enough.
time for the
Okay,
DCM
you
or the
finish,
CM
I
to
will
go meet
answer.
them. Because Rahul
You know
Gandhi,
the, do you know the
Let her finish. Let her finish.
Rahul Gandhi
Syed, I'm
might
coming to
live
you.
here in India, but he visits Vietnam oh so often. So, you can't really get a meeting with him in Delhi. You have to make sure that those 16 seconds, 30 seconds of a glimpse that you can get in Mysore airport when he's coming to visit Tamil Nadu, you have to go catch him at that point in time.
No.
Rahul Gandhi is
no.
more important to the DCM and CM
Syed.
than the German Chancellor
Now
who's
let me
actually
answer.
bringing in.
Syed.
Bosch would
Allow me to
which
let me just add to that.
He's going to IIC. How are you making this argument?
Syed,
How are you? Rahul Gandhi didn't even come here for Karnataka.
I will answer.
It is
I will answer.
protocol.
That's a
It is
separate
showing
debate.
that-
That's a separate debate. It's a Congress government in Karnataka. But I also want to ask Syed. You can answer Surabhi, but I want to ask a more sort of objective question, which is that just a few weeks ago, the Congress, including Rahul Gandhi, had made a huge hue and cry over not being invited to the Putin banquet here in Delhi. They had made a huge hue and cry over protocol, being bent to keep the opposition out. This is your party's state, sir. Your party is ruling this state, and your own leaders have ignored such a high-profile visitor, as Surabhi correctly points out, the largest trading partner with Karnataka.
Shiv, I will answer this. This is a very important question. This is about the economy of my state, the wonderful state of Karnataka. You're a Karnataka too, Shiv, and I'm answerable to you. So here is my answer. What is the reason that the German Chancellor came to India? Friedrich Merz came to India for two reasons. His meeting with Bosch, higher investments in Karnataka, the expansion of Bosch. Is it done and ably supported? Are there memorandum of understanding, memorandum of agreement signed?
Symbols matter. Symbols matter. People matter. Come on.
Hear me out, my friend.
You're giving a very technical answer, Syed.
No. Did it meet its purpose? The Center for Nanoscience and Engineering at IISc was inaugurated by the Honorable Chancellor. The fact of the matter is MB Patil is the minister in charge and concerned here. Now, we might do a lot of politics on this, bring in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. With all due respect to the booming economy of Bengaluru, my city in Karnataka state.
What was Rahul Gandhi coming to Mysore for?
Now, if you allow me to answer.
Coming
to the hear me. You've asked a question.
What did Rahul Gandhi planned in Mysore
You've asked me a question.
What program did Rahul Gandhi come to Mysore?
Now, let me answer. Fair question.
Please.
Hear me. You've asked me a question. I'll answer you, ma'am. The fact of the matter is,
why was it more important for
Rahul Gandhi?
the chief
Hear me.
Karnataka to meet Rahul Gandhi over
hear me, ma'am. You ask a question and you don't hear.
Don't go somewhere else. Please answer this question.
I know you're an aspiring anchor. You've asked a question. I will answer. Here it is. Shri Rahul Gandhi ji is the leader of opposition, and he must and should be invited with the Vladimir Putin meet and dinner. Is there no respect for the leader of opposition? When LK Advani, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, any leader came to India, were they invited? What kind of duplicity and hypocrisy is this, ma'am?
Okay.
Aap kare to pyar, hum kare to waari. Kaisa
Are you arguing for protocol or against it? What's happening here?
I am arguing for the state of Karnataka and the leader of opposition. And that is what I will fight for. Ma'am, in these petty politics, BJP
what are you
Congress,
so fighting
don't
for,
take
Abbas?
Okay.
Come on.
Don't take the fight.
You and I can be candid about this. You don't have to go this way.
Karnataka is winning. Karnataka is shining. Karnataka is one of the best state of India. Let me tell you that.
Yes.
You take GST. You take GST. You take the top
meeting.
I will only end. I'm out of time, but I'll say this, guys.
Number one in India.
Surabhi and Syed, I will end by saying that the German Chancellor's visit to India saw the Prime Minister make an extra effort with him. We saw what happened in Gujarat. He arrived in Karnataka. You saw what happened in Karnataka. Let the viewers decide this. At the end of the day,
this is a petty case.
The end of the day, the
These are
BJP
very
says.
small things. BJP is trying to highlight this.
Hold on.
This is not a matter of concern.
The BJP has called the Congress.
Employment.
The BJP says for the Congress, Darbar is priority and protocol does not matter at all. It's about kursi. It's about Game of Thrones. The Congress has turned around and said this is petty and irresponsible and asked the Congress the BJP to mind its own business. Let the viewers decide. We've got these two images on our screen. Let the viewers decide. Thank you very much, Syed and Surabhi, for being with me on India Matters tonight. Thank you. Gurmeet Ram Rahim, convicted rapist and murderer, leader of the Dera Sacha Sauda, currently not serving his 20-year prison sentence behind bars, but doing chill yoga at his 5-star ashram. While prisoners wake up to roll calls and locked cells, Gurmeet Ram Rahim wakes up at his sprawling ashram as we speak, stretches into yoga, goes for leisurely morning walks, eats breakfast prepared by loyal followers, delivers sermons, supervises farming, holds court with devotees and winds down with a lovely, sumptuous dinner cooked by volunteers, till late night discussions, planning, chilling in his ashram. This is what his parole looks like. His 15th in the last 5 years. Now contrast that with what he should be doing as a rape murder convict in Sunaria jail in Haryana's Rohtak district. Waking up to a head count, cleaning his own cell, eating institutional food, assigned labor, locked in a cell by evening, lights out, no sermons, no disciples, no 5-star spirituality. But Gurmeet Ram Rahim, India's most influential rapist murderer, doesn't do prison, thanks to his dear friends in the central government, Haryana government, and of course our ever-reliable judiciary. Shocking reports now show the Haryana government bending over backwards over the last few years, spending valuable taxpayer money to ensure that this man keeps getting parole despite being a hardcore criminal convict. In 2022, Haryana even passed a law, according to reports, easing parole for well-behaved criminals, then argued in court that Gurmeet Ram Rahim, convicted of rape and 2 murders, mind you, is not a hardcore criminal because he isn't a serial killer. Let me repeat, rape, murder, not hardcore. In 2023, the same government spent taxpayer money arguing that his repeated paroles caused no untoward incidents while he was on these vacations. So why should the government stop providing parole to this criminal? This year's reason for parole is even better. 40 days, right now he's chilling in his ashram for 40 days to attend the birth anniversary of the second head of the Dera Sacha Sauda. I'm not even making this up, I'm not kidding. 40 days to celebrate one birthday. Is this parole or a frequent flyer loyalty program is the question I want to ask. Gurmeet Ram Rahim has now completed 8 days or 9 days of his latest 40-day vacation. Put it all together and he spends 406 days outside jail while serving a 20-year sentence, and all within the last 5 years. This is proof that Gurmeet Ram Rahim has the central government, the Haryana government and a pliant judiciary in the palm of his hand. They are spineless in front of him. The same judiciary that finally managed to convict and send this powerful man to jail is now practically cowering in fear. You might wonder why I say shame on the judiciary, since parole is normally an administrative matter under the state government. But did you know, viewer, that in 2024, despite the Punjab and Haryana High Court judges, Justice Augustine George Massey and Justice Sandeep Maudgil, ordering the Haryana government not to grant further parole to Gurmeet Ram Rahim without court permission, a judge from the same court, Justice Vinod Bharadwaj, the following year, lifted that stipulation, allowing the Haryana government to carry on serving its true master, a rape and murder convict. I've said this before and I will say it again and again and again. Shame on the Haryana government, shame on the central government, because Haryana government couldn't have done this without their okay, and shame on every court that heard these shameless arguments and still said, yes, let him out of jail. That's it on India Matters. Thanks very much for watching. A special episode of Chai Stop from Mumbai by Padmaja Joshi and her team comes up next.
Hello, Moto. Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone